Hey, what's up guys? So, today is the day where I start this new Q&A Patreon series. Yeah? Yay! So I put a poll not too long ago on whether you guys would prefer this Q&A style vid or a live stream for the $2 tier. And most of you voted for this. So, here we are. This is why you're watching it on your computer screen, right? These ones and zeros. Yeah, I don't know. I really do like doing live streams, and I will continue to do them anyway. I'm just trying to figure out on which tier I should do it. I actually made a Discord account. I don't even really know what Discord is, but I have an account, and I've linked it to my Patreon. I'm just still figuring out what I'm going to do with that. Let's just go to some of you guys' questions, and I can't answer all of them, otherwise it will just be way too long. So I've decided to just answer the questions with the most likes to them, right? Because this tells me that more people want to know. So, here we go. Stop being creepy, Tom. Sorry. I'm like not a morning person, so it takes me like a while to kind of recalibrate into this reality. I'm much more creative and at my best during the evening at night, but that's when everybody's home, so I can't do videos. So it's like, anyways, I'm actually looking at moving out with my girlfriend soon. I'll be renting. Should be pretty cool. So first question by Yasil Hockley. Do you think there's a realm beyond or far more complex than the DMT realm? So Mike responded to this and said, Terence McKenna once turned a shaman on to smoke DMT. After experiencing it, he said that realm is the furthest a human can go without actually dying or not coming back to their body. So perhaps there is. So do I think that there's a realm beyond or even far more complex than the DMT realm? Yeah, sure. Like, I don't even know where to go with this question, to be honest, because it's like, alright, do I think that there are other realms out there than humans have explored? Yeah, of course. Like, the universe is infinite, and not just physically, but multi-dimensionally, right? So there are so many, well, I think from what we can understand from like quantum physics and stuff, and I'm not smart enough to actually understand it properly, but from what I get is that the universe is infinite. There are infinite amount of dimensions and parallel realities and possibilities, and they're all playing out simultaneously. I could just be spouting complete nonsense, pseudoscience bullshit, but it seems that this is the consensus, and also from what I've experienced, I've had glimpses of other worlds that are not even close to this reality. So yeah, I'm sorry I can't give a deep response to this question, but to answer it simply, yes, I do think that there's a realm beyond or far more complex than the DMT realm. Next question by David Schwinn. What actually is a psychosis? In most videos, it's just this one bad thing that can happen, but I don't actually know what it is. So I'm going to search it on Google and give a, an official definition of what it is. Psychosis, noun. A severe mental disorder in which thought and emotions are so impaired that contact is lost with external reality. They were suffering from a psychosis. So like you said, you know it as like this bad thing, and it really is your reaction and how you deal with exploring other states of consciousness. And psychosis is when you do get out of touch with this reality, and it is like a negative thing, and it goes back to, let's say, what Joseph Campbell used to say, is that the psychotic drowns in the same waters in which the mystic swims with delight, right? So you've got two different people going to the same territory. One loses their shit and drowns, the other one starts swimming with delight. So again, it really depends on your own foundation, and I mean like your emotional, physical and mental foundation. And something that Carl Jung used to say is beware of unearned wisdom, right? So you might have this overwhelmingly powerful experience with the divine, but that doesn't mean that you hold the vessel that can handle such an experience. So maybe people who do go through psychosis maybe they just experienced something that they just weren't freaking prepared for. You know what I mean? Because like you can get, like, let's say, let's take psychedelics for example. You can give a yogi a ridiculous amount of LSD and they might have a pretty nice trip, you know, get some good insights, but overall they're not going to have that difficult of an experience because they've been training their whole life through meditating, spiritual practices, isolation, self-inquiry, yada yada yada. But the person who isn't prepared in these things, like let's say you got this 15-year-old Johnny who just smokes weed every day, drinks alcohol, has no idea about the self or doesn't even know about basic psychology, has a shitty family, is isolated, like is a recluse, gets bullied at school, and then that person has an overwhelming experience with, let's say, psychedelics, and then they go through psychosis because it's too much. If you haven't noticed by now, I am completely riffing on this subject, and psychosis is something that I would like to study in depth in the future. I think, I don't know, it's a tricky one because I've gone through like a drug-induced psychosis, but it did wear off as soon as the drug wore off. But, for example, from my last Boga experience, I did go through a little bit of derealization, right? Thinking that none of this is real, and I was like severed off from this reality. So it was a lot of intense loneliness, I guess you could call it. To go back to your question, David, fuck, I am the master at going on tangents. What actually is a psychosis? Yeah, it's when you just lose touch with this reality. You might hear voices, you might have visions, you might go through derealization, depersonalization. You might think that none of this is real, but again, I guess psychosis really implies the negative reaction to it. Because you take a shaman, for example, they're functional schizophrenics, right? I'm simplifying it into like this blunt statement, but if you think about it, they are. Like they're in our, you know, what we would consider crazy people, you know, who have access with the spirit realm and things like that, but they've learned to harness that power and use it to help their community. Whereas in our society, when someone is schizophrenic or crazy, we give them numbing medication, right? Shut those voices off. We make them feel more disconnected with the rest of us, which actually makes them feel even more crazy. And then, yeah, it's kind of like fucked up. But yeah, psychosis, it's just a label, really, and I sorry to beat a dead horse, but it really is about your reaction to your situation, your reaction to losing touch with this reality. You can either drown like a psychotic or swim with delight like the mystic, right? Easier said than done, but it's all about having that intention and knowing where you want to go and understanding what this thing is, but it's a very complex subject. Okay, anyways, I had to go inside because of the loud construction noise outside, at least for me, anyway. I don't know how long I'm going to make these Q&A things for, but it's really cool because I'm doing it for you guys, you know, fellow patrons. I don't have to worry about saying, you know, share, subscribe, like, or, you know, set up my description box so it optimizes sales for merch and all that kind of stuff. I can just kind of chill out and do the least amount of editing and stuff. It depends how you guys like it. If you want it like somewhat short Q&A, maybe 15 to 20 minutes, or if you want it to be longer, maybe half an hour, we'll see. Anyways, our next question comes from Ben von Schulman with 3 likes. It says, have you ever reached the psychedelic hallucinatory states from cannabis edibles? Listen, when you're talking about the DMT realm ego death hallucinatory state, then no, but I have definitely had some very profound experiences, at least in terms of self-inquiry, powerful emotional states, some purging, because it makes me very sensitive. Like if I smoke weed, well, you're talking about eating cannabis, which is even more intense. When I eat weed and let's say I watch a movie, I'm going to be 100% immersed in that movie. Like me sober, I'm very sensitive to life in general, and I can really immerse myself into tasks very easily. But with cannabis, whoo-wee, do I get just not even that long ago, I was watching the trailer to the new Avengers. I didn't even eat weed. I smoked weed with my girlfriend, and I fucking teared up of how intense this is going to be. But again, I'm a massive Marvel nerd, and I've been waiting for this movie to come out for a very long time, and everything has been preparing for this moment. But anyways, I digress. Hallucinatory states with cannabis edibles, yeah. Definitely. Maybe not so much with like visuals, but yeah, the more emotional, mental states, I have gone very similar states to like low dose mushrooms and things like that. And also remember that ever since I've had my first ayahuasca experience over 3 years ago, my sensitivity to cannabis increased by a lot, like 20-fold, you know. So I'm a lot more sensitive to cannabis now as I was even 5 years ago, you know what I mean? Which is funny because like you'd think the more you smoke, the higher tolerance you'd get. I get it, higher tolerance? Anyway, sorry. And this happens most of the time, but for whatever reason, and this happened to Adam as well, he had ayahuasca, and ever since then he got super sensitive to weed. So I don't know what it is about ayahuasca in particular that has caused this to happen, but I'm actually happy this happened. Yeah, because I treat cannabis now with a lot more respect, and I don't have to smoke as much. You know, I can get high as a kite in like 2 drags. And edibles is just something else. I don't have very often. Once I get my own space, I would like to make how to make vegan brownies or something like that. I just wouldn't put it on YouTube because I get in trouble. But maybe on DTube or Patreon, maybe an exclusive video for you Patreons. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, let us know in the comment section below. It's like I've glanced at these questions, but this is the first time I've given proper thought because I want it to be as raw as I can. I don't want it to be structured too much, so my answers will definitely have a lot of riffing and me kind of figuring it out as I go, and tangents, yay, tangents, woohoo! Anyways, Rudy asks, what has been the most influential lesson that you have ever learned during the course of your psychedelic journey? Do you think you would be where you are now without them, for better or worse? Also, I'm curious on your thoughts about occasional use, once or twice a year, to jolt back life lessons that these tools can show you. Every time I take mushrooms, I am reminded how wrong I am with life and how much I want to change. I am curious if I could use those a few times a year to constantly keep me in the right direction. I'm a big fan of the videos and what you do. It takes bravery to put your name and face out there, and I want to thank you for all the life lessons, man. Jeez. Okay, so there has been a reply for this question, which I'm going to... My dogs are trying to get in. Not today, Buster. So Mike responded with, not to steal Tom's future reply or anything, but in my experience, not everyone is made for long-term psychedelic use like that. If you know yourself very well and are very comfortable being by yourself and experiencing very weird stuff and aren't prone to negative emotional spikes, you should be good. But you know your mind and body better than anyone else, and everyone has their limits. Don't go off the deep end with doses way beyond what you're used to. Work your way up to the personal sweet spot. Okay, yada yada yada. Meditation helps. Hopes this help. Okay. So what's the most influential? There's a few questions that you've chucked in there, and this is like a whole video in and of itself. But I'll try to answer it somewhat briefly so we can at least cover some of the other questions. So, what has been the most influential lesson that I have learned during the course of my psychedelic journey? Duality, I suppose. That there's a higher self that knows far beyond than what the human mind can ever fathom. That everything is interconnected, whether we like it or not, and that's positive and negative, because I mean, yeah, we are the stars, the suns, the beauty, the love, but we're also the darkness, the fucked up shit, the evil, the rapists, the pedophiles, things like that. So it's like, I've gone full circle with this realization of, like, let's say, duality, right? Well, it was the biggest aha moment I had with ayahuasca. I learned that all the suffering and pain that I ever went through in my life was like fertilizer to help me grow and learn new things about myself and help catapult me forward. And it's always when you look back on adversity, you think, oh my God, it seems so terrible at the time, but you look on hindsight and it's like, holy shit, this is actually a good thing because it led me to X, Y, Z. It helped me know this person, which helped me learn this about myself and blah, blah, blah. Well, we've all had these realizations, and that's only if you persevere, because I'm not going to get into that. But anyways, I guess that has been the most influential lesson, just really understanding duality. Now, the first year or so of my after my ayahuasca experience, it was a very positive thing, right? I saw all the fucked up shit in the world as like a good thing because it's like to counterbalance the good, right? But after my iboga experience, I kind of really delved deep into the dark side of duality, and that is that anything good in life is going to have a price for it, you know? Let's say, for example, my amazing, perfect girlfriend who I love with all my heart, and, you know, she's like my best friend, my soulmate, my lover. Like I couldn't... You would think that this is the best thing that could possibly happen, and it is, right? For the most part. But imagine how amazing and how in love I am with my girlfriend. The fact that I'm going to lose her, it's going to make it that much more painful. So it's like, that kind of sucks, right? People get jealous of like, oh, I wish I had a girlfriend like that. And it's like, yeah, it's amazing. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't trade her for anything. And I'm grateful for her every single day. But the fact that I'm going to lose her one day fucking sucks, man. That sucks. And this is going to be a pain that a lot of people who haven't had the perfect partner will never experience, right? So again, there's like the price to everything in life. Now, I'm not saying this is necessarily a negative realization. It just is what it is. And now I'm going through the, let's say, the process of really accepting these, what my mind perceives to be fucked up parts of reality. Because it's very easy for me to just be bitter and be like, fuck you life, fuck you God, seriously. Like, Jesus Christ. Sometimes I think, I don't actually think this, but in the depth of my existential crisis, I'm like, why give us all this good stuff? Why give us the butterflies, the love, the laughter, you know, just so we can contrast and experience pain. Whereas if this world was purely just pain, we wouldn't know what good is. Therefore, it wouldn't actually be as bad. So, yeah, not to get all real dark and stuff, but that's like... But this only applies to this physical dimension, and of course I have to state that there are things that transcend duality, right? Light transcends duality, love transcends duality, and if you connect to source and your higher self and you have your meaning and your purpose, you can get through all that kind of bullshit. And yes, it's going to be painful when your loved ones die, but you can also hopefully get to the point where you're in this non-resistant state where you can see the beauty in it, right? And I'm not there yet, but I have somewhere where I'm aiming for. That's like all my goals in life aren't material at all. I don't give a shit about any of this kind of stuff, but it is a vehicle for me to set up the life that I want to live. But my goal in life is to get to the emotional state where I can accept reality as is, right? And yes, this iboga experience has set me back a little bit, but it's set me back in terms of like a slingshot, right? So like you perceive that it's pulling you back, but yeah, it's just an opportunity to be reborn into a new version of yourself, and that's the transition what I'm going through now. Now, do you think you would be where you are now without them? It's hard to say, man. Like, they've definitely played a big part, and they've influenced my life in both negative and positive ways. If I never took psychedelics, do I think I would be where I am today? Well, no, of course not. Everything is relative, you know? Like, if I didn't... Like, everything is mundane as, oh, if I didn't show up to work late that one day, my life could be completely different. Like, you know what I mean? You could... Yeah. Everything is relative, so of course I wouldn't be where I am without them. Now, does that mean that my life would have turned out worse or better? Who freaking knows? Who knows? There was a time that I almost joined the army, and I got my results were just like the best in the class, and I could have applied to any position I wanted to. And then what happened? I ended up smoking weed, right? Now, is this a bad thing? Well, in many cases, yeah, I really got into weed. I started selling and got really addicted to it, and it's probably done some permanent damage to my attention span and memory and things like that. But what happened if I were to join the army? Maybe I would have turned out more miserable. Maybe I would have ended up flying to some country and killing some poor kid and having PTSD or something like that. And not because I wanted to kill someone, but because my life was in danger and I had no choice. And then now I have to live with the fact that I have this horrific PTSD, especially coming to terms with how horrendous I can become, right? Now, I know this is like a bit of a tangent, but I don't think it is. Because my point is that you just don't know. And my life could have turned out better in some cases and worse in others, right? Because there's a part of me that wishes that, fuck, I wish I had a little bit more of my innocence and ignorance, even just for a little bit. But that's just a fucking ego that doesn't want to accept the harsher truths of reality. And sometimes it's like we're not meant to be happy. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's why we're here. I think it's a part of the human experience and it's very important. I believe you can maximize joy and minimize suffering, but we're not here just to be happy. I think we're here to grow and learn. And with growing and learning and gaining experience and wisdom, there is a price for that. You know, fortunately or unfortunately. Again, it's just how you choose to look at it, and it's all perspective, you know? It is what it is. I am much better now, and I'm now glad that the burger experience happened, because I would have gone too far with this psychedelic route, being identified with being this psychedelic YouTuber guy. And now it's like, I don't want that at all. And there's been a lot of my likes and dislikes which have completely shifted 180, but now this is forcing me to go to a completely new direction, but while still, you know, gathering some of the things that make me me, I suppose. But yeah, also, oh fuck, this is a long ass question. Fuck man, this could be like a whole video just on your question. Anyways, also, I'm curious on your thoughts about occasional use once or twice a year. Again, it depends on you. Only you can really know the answer to this. But my rebuttal to this would be, why not just note down the most profound insights you get from your last psychedelic trip and then paste it on your wall and fucking remind yourself every single day, because it's all about the compounding effect. And I would argue that that would remind you and help you not stray off your path a lot more than just having one powerful psychedelic experience every year. Unless maybe you're doing the psychedelic trip and you're doing the everyday tasks to keep you on track, then maybe it could be even better. I don't know. But I think there are other ways to be reminded without using psychedelics. But yeah, anyways. Next question. Have you ever considered looking into VR trip simulations, even just a 360 video that can be watched on one's phone? I've used VR a fair amount. I've used HTC Vive, and I am 100% sure VR and psychedelics can meet to make more accurate depictions of the psychedelic hallucinatory headspace, like Terrence McKenna talked about in the late 90s. Hey, Ben, that's your second question, but I'm going to answer it anyway because it got a good amount of likes. But for next time, I'm going to let you off with a warning this time. All right, Ben? No, but next time, just one question per person, por favor. Well, sure. Do you know how expensive 360 cameras are? Of course I would do that. And I think I could do a fucking good job. Yeah, it's really about funds, but for sure I'll totally do something like that. Maybe it could be like a milestone or a fundraiser. What is it? No, GoFundMe or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's just money. It's just, yeah. I don't even know how much 360 cameras are. Let me check. 360 camera price. No, it's not too bad. $300. But still, it's not worth me getting it right now. $300 is a lot of money for me. That's like 2 weeks of rent. Thoughts on anti-natalism by Jesse Townsend. My knowledge on anti-natalism is very narrow, let's say. I've learnt... The only thing I know about anti-natalism is by... I forgot the gentleman's name, but he jumped on the Sam Harris Waking Up podcast and he talked about his position on this, right? And in a nutshell, it's pretty much that it's better to not exist than it is to exist. And he thinks it's a monstrous, horrendous crime to even have children, given how much suffering they are most likely going to go through. And not to just go, I don't want to spend too much time on this. It's for one reason. We fucking exist. It's like, what the fuck do you want? Like, let's just say that this is 100% correct and he has every right to think this, that it's better to not exist than to exist. Well, it's like, what the fuck do you want? Like, you can't even kill yourself out of existence. Like, we're here whether you like it or not. So going into that is a very poor choice in my opinion. And I think that can easily lead someone on a path of complete misery and mental fuckery. So please don't spend too much time on this because, again, we exist. What do you want? Like, I understand his points, and there's a lot of it that I agree with, actually, which I don't want to. And yeah, I do think that having a kid this day and age for 99% of the population is a fucking monstrous crime. I do. I think most people aren't fit to be a parent, and I think people do it out of selfishness. And yeah, there is a lot of suffering in this world, and I don't know the percentage of people, but I think that there's a lot of people in this world who would rather have not existed than to go through the immense pain and suffering that they've gone through. And my heart goes out to all those people. But again, it's like, well, fuck. We're here. Like, we might as well make this the best possible reality as we can. You know what I mean? I definitely think we've had a lot of progress, at least technologically, which has helped minimize suffering, like with, you know, medical technologies and medicine, modern medicine, things like that. But yeah, is it better to not exist than to exist? The thing is, guys, we all have potential. We have the potential to live an amazing, amazing fucking life. And it's totally possible to lie in your deathbed with a fucking smile and tears of joy of how much of an amazing, beautiful ride this was. Even though you went through some pretty fucked up shit. It can still be worth it in the end. This is why, again, having meaning, purpose, having a spiritual practice, having a tribe, taking care of your body is essential. And even if you have all these things covered, you still might go through a lot of pain and suffering. And it's just the price we have of being human, which, from what I have read from, let's say, the Bhagavad Gita, is that if you attach yourself to sensory pleasures, yes, at first it might taste as sweet as nectar, but in the long run, it is bitter poison, right? So if you learn to disassociate yourself from the self, from the sensory pleasures, and connect with source, then pain and suffering doesn't really exist, right? And this is all theoretical, and I've had tastes of this, and I don't think that you can be in this state forever, because there's no escaping being human or having an ego. And yeah, in a lot of ways it's fucking tragic, right? Like, being a human is a big tragedy in many, many ways. But again, it's like, fuck. The healthiest option, in my opinion, is to have kind of a practical, positive approach to it, but also to look at the negatives of it. You know, don't fall into the trap of being too optimistic and too new agey and, oh, this is all beautiful, it's all peace and love and blah blah blah. If you can get to that stage, then I'm happy for you, really. But anyways, anti-natalism. That's so fucked up that that's even like a thing. And it's not like, because logically speaking, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but yeah, like I said, don't spend too much time on this. You would just depress yourself. Same with like nihilism and things like that. And you also got to look at the person that you're listening to. And I've said this before, but if you follow someone's philosophy, you're following their lifestyle, right? Who are these people, like let's say these depressed philosopher types, or these people who are really attached to anti-natalism or nihilism and things like that? Most of the time you look at them and they're pasty, skinny, depressed human beings. So it's like, why would you want to follow their philosophy? And again, a lot of these philosophies have many valid points, and it's good to expand your horizon and learn about the universe from as many perspectives as you can, but take the gold from all these philosophies, integrate it with your own life, but also remember to be a pragmatist in and having a functional life, being happy and being useful to this society, having meaning and purpose, because you need all that kind of stuff. That's my thoughts on that. Valid points, but at the same time, I don't know. There's definitely some holes in that logic. If you want to know more about it, go check Sam Harris's podcast. I forgot who the dude's name, but it was one of the latest ones, so yeah, check it out. Anyways, next question. What are some good ways to experience a psychedelic experience back into 3D? Meditation, Wim Hof breathing, cold showers, journaling, especially immediately after your psychedelic experience. Get the key insights, post it on your freaking wall, remind yourself of that. Another good way to integrate the psychedelic experience actually is get a specific essential oil, whatever it is. Just make sure it's something that you don't use all the time, and then use it during your psychedelic experience, right? And then afterwards, when the drug's worn off and you're integrating, then you can start using this essential oil, let's say like frankincense or whatever it is, and then you smell it, and then it will trigger more memories and take you back to that psychedelic space more often. You can do this with music, smells, scents, notes, and obviously the more senses you get involved, the easier it is going to be to integrate it, the easier it is going to be to get back to that psychedelic state without using the drug itself. So anyway, there are some good tips there for you, mate. Joey Williams. Matt Damon asks, what helped you heal through times of depression, and do you still practice what helped you through it? Yeah, for sure. There's been many things that have helped me through depression, and I still practice many of these things. Like depression is because before I used to actually have depression and it lingered for years, right? Whereas now it's like, yeah, sure, I might go through bouts of depression, but I know that it's just a cloud that's just passing through, and I can overcome it quite easily this time around. The issues that I go through now is not depression anymore. Maybe existential depression, but that's a whole other can of worms. But in terms of normal depression, first of all, think about depression. What is depression, right? It's depressing your thoughts, your emotion, right? It's the opposite of expressing your authentic self. So depression is, a lot of the time, it feels like the walls are closing in, you're all alone, you think this is going to happen forever, you get all these fucked up thoughts, you feel sad, you feel angry, you feel hopeless, yada, yada, yada. Now, something that I can highly recommend with overcoming depression is, first of all, get into your body, because depression is stored in the body, right? You cannot use the mind to get out of depression, because that's where it originates from, but it's stored in the body, right? Elliot Holst talks about this a lot, and he goes into bioenergetics, deep breathing, etc., etc. So something that will really help, and make sure this is part of your fucking morning ritual, or make sure you do this daily, and don't skip out on it, not even once, because if you skip out on it once, then it's very easy to not ingrain that habit into your daily life. And that is cold showers, my friend. Cold showers will do you freaking wonders. It will help you with your fatigue, it will help you with your sex drive, it will help you with your motivation, it will help you with your willpower, and it will help you feeling better, right? Because it produces all these chemicals like endorphins and things like that that shock your system. So have cold showers every day. Maybe do a lot of cardio really helps. Either lifting heavy weights helps, or exercise. And that's going to depend on what resonates with you, but you want to have fun with it as well. So it could be learning a martial art like jiu-jitsu, lifting heavy weights at the gym, doing some running, go out in nature. That's another thing. Sunlight. Fucking sunlight. It's so simple. And I don't want to make this claim, but I would put money that sunlight helps more with depression than antidepressants. It's all about lights, my friend. Lights, lights, lights. Spend as much time as you can outside with the sun rays hitting your face and your whole body. Like, take your shirt off. Remember that the skin is the largest organ in the body and it needs its nutrients, and sun is the best nutrient for it. So, get some sun, man. And you know when you're like depressed, you're in your room, you feel sluggish and can't be fucked doing this, man. But your curtains are closed, you're in the darkness, right? But then as soon as you open that curtain, like your body already has that reaction because your depression wants to just keep being depressed. That's what it is. Everything in life is like this entity that just wants to grow and mutate and survive. And you got to treat depression like this separate entity almost, right? It wants to survive and wants to grow. So it's going to do whatever it can to do so. So, yeah. Sunlight, cold showers, deep breathing meditation. Check out Wim Hof. Exercise. Don't judge your depression. For fuck's sake, don't judge your depression. Express yourself in any way possibly. Any way possible. Express yourself, whether it's through any medium like music, maybe it's playing guitar, maybe it's painting, maybe it's drawing, maybe it's poetry, maybe it's speaking, it's whatever. You know what resonates with you, but just use a medium to express yourself and harness that depression for good. And to talk to people about it, get a good tribe. Fucking, I don't know, man. Find someone, find a group. You need a tribe. Everyone needs a tribe. You know, maybe join my Discord, you know, and then we can start hanging out, you know, maybe a few times a month, whatever. I'm still figuring it out, but I will be planning, and I'm not even just using this to plug myself, I just thought about it just then, but I would like to create a community of sorts. Like, I've created a community, sure, but I mean like whether it's a Facebook private group or Discord or something where a whole bunch of people can actually just hang out, you know, however many times it is, once a week or whatever, and then we can talk about what's going on in our lives and support each other and help integrate, because that's a big fucking part of integration and getting better. So yeah, hope that helps. Yeah, supplements as well, that helps. 5-HTP. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video format. So yeah, this will be released monthly, right, to these patrons. Just post any more questions you have for me for the next video, and make sure to like your favorite questions and I'll prioritize those ones first. And yeah, let me know what you think about, because I've put my Discord server to the $11 reward. Let me know if you think that is too much, or if you think it's fair, or if I should maybe lower it to the $5 tier. I'm just trying to figure this thing out, you know, trying to make it fair, not only for everybody in the community, but for myself as well. Like currently working on getting a sponsorship for the podcast. It's just fine. Like I actually had a lot of work I needed to do because I held a lot of guilt about making money doing what I love, especially given that most people aren't in that position, especially given the position of my parents, right? They're both immigrants who went through a pretty hard life and had to work their fucking asses off to make peanuts. So there's a lot of that guilt that I've held, but I've finally gotten over it with a lot of work, not only that I've done from myself, but help from mentors and coaches and stuff like that. So I don't really feel bad for asking for help, or even collaborating or having affiliate programs with products, as long as it's something that I 100% believe in, of course. It's not in my being to sell some shit that I don't believe in. So yeah, there will be be sponsors for the podcast, and I'm going to be working on other ways to generate extra income, because I'm going to be moving out with my girlfriend soon, and of course that is not cheap, especially living in Melbourne. Australia is very, very, very expensive. So doing what I can, I'm going to be creating services and things like that just to support myself. But most importantly is like, if you want to serve others, you got to fill your own cup first and then give from the overspill. Overfill? You know what I mean, the overflow. That was the word I was looking for. It's all freaking good. What else was I gonna say? So covered Discord. Oh yes, with the podcast as well, I will be releasing ad-free versions for you guys first. So this PsychedSubstance podcast, I will be releasing on Patreon first. I'm just waiting for Adam to re-listen to it and see if he's happy with it, if I need to remove anything and things like that. So I will be releasing that here. No ads, no disclaimers, no intros, things like that. And then eventually I will post it on my channel, make it public, but this is where, you know, we'll have the intro, the monologue, ads, disclaimers, you know, plugging my shit. How rude of me, I almost forgot to thank you guys for all your support. And you know, this is my gift to you, and I'm happy to do these long form Q&A videos, especially because there are some questions that I just wouldn't answer on my main channel. Not because like I'm embarrassed or I don't want to share it, but just for the fact that it's just too long. Like some questions, it's like, yeah, this is a video. And maybe I will make a video from some of these questions in the future. But my video making time has been cut short, especially dealing with this whole YouTube thing, and you know, got to deal with like the business aspect of it, and set myself in a way that this will be more profitable, so I can create more videos and other projects and things like that. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you think of this. Post comments below for the next Q&A video, and yeah, please feel free to share any criticism or ways that I can improve this Patreon experience. Maybe some rewards that could be a good idea. Maybe that can get more people on board. Or yeah, who knows. Anyways, any ideas are much appreciated. Love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. You are really making this possible, and I'm not just saying that. And I know it kind of feels like I'm on autopilot because I've said it for so long, but no, seriously, like, there doesn't go a day where I'm not aware of this blessing, right? And to be in the position that I'm in, right? And to have amazing fans like you guys who really help support this channel. And, you know, like without you guys, I would not continue doing this kind of stuff because it wouldn't be possible. Like, anyways. Anywho, yeah, let me know what you think of this. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe the next video I can bring Yesenia along. Let me know. Ooh, that could be fun. Peace out. Have a good one.